And right now it's time to welcome my good friend and co-host, Jeff Small, president of Arbor Financial Services, a retirement income store in Melbourne, Florida. Jeff's also the author of the Amazon best-selling book, Turning Financial Planning Right Side Up. Jeff, I have to admit, and this may sound funny on Valentine's Day, but I kind of miss you. You know, we went out fishing 2 weekends in a row and we missed last weekend. How did that happen?
That's all right, Dave. I'm going to see you this weekend down in the Keys so we can make up for lost time there.
That's right. There you go. I love it. All right. We also want to take an opportunity to bring in our guests, an old friend of the income generation from 3 or 4 years ago, Samuel and Kirstie O'Banner. We met the O'Banners a few years ago when they came through one of our income specialists, Michael Eastham, who's based in Orlando, Florida. They appeared on Fox Business with Michael, and they talked about their plans to marry and to get out of debt. When we first had them on our show in 2018, they had achieved both of their goals and even founded Fresh Start Education. And we're excited to catch up with them on today's show. So tell me, first of all, I hope you're both still debt-free, right?
Yes. Very much so. And
all right.
We're glad to be here, David. Thank you for the invitation.
Thanks for having us.
Well, of course, and just tell me briefly, you know, how have you been coping over the last 11 months or so with the pandemic and all this craziness that we're all subjected to?
Man, it's been an eventful last year or so in so many ways, you know, obviously with everything going on globally and even personally for us. We had our first child back in September.
Yep.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
That's awesome.
We've been adjusting to parenthood in the middle of a pandemic. And, you know, thankfully our businesses are still thriving and we've been able to continue working towards our financial goals. So
that's awesome. With the pandemic and more time together, you probably feel like you've had 10 years of marriage in the last 3 years. Jeff?
So listen, guys, lots of couples start out today. They have no idea how to accumulate, how to get organized. Give us the best tips for our viewers and our listeners, especially a lot of the viewers that we have are older, younger, in the middle age range. For their kids, they want advice to be able to share with them. What's the 1 or 2 tips you can give them for folks to get started on how to start accumulating wealth?
Yeah, we think that one of the primary things you have to do is first, you know, if you're married, budget together, you know, unity is important. And you get 2 people on the same page, you can make huge progress. If you're single, still have a plan. So the first thing is having a plan. You got to keep your end goal in mind.
Right. And definitely eliminating debt. When we talk about building wealth, Jeff, I mean, eliminating debt, because it's just going to rob you of your ability to accumulate wealth if everything you're making is, you know, going out the window. So eliminating debt as quickly as possible, you know, looking into some, you know, smart investment opportunities and really starting there, we think, for sure.
So tell me, how do you balance, you know, your goals together and your goals separately? I mean, clearly all your goals aren't the same, right? So how do you balance the together stuff and the separate stuff?
That's a good question.
Yeah, I think ultimately we come together and we determine where do we want to go as a family.
Right.
You know, even the timing being on the show, you asked us, are we still debt free? When we were on the show previously, we were debt free, everything but the house. And in 2 weeks, we're happy to say that we will have our primary residence paid off. We'll be completely debt free.
Right.
Woohoo! Congratulations. That's awesome.
So we had the end goal in mind, and that's important. And you start from there. And every goal is not going to be, you know, as big as the end goal, but you just kind of start with the end goal and then you work your way and work through any other goals you may have.
Sure. And for all of you tuning in, what I really want to know, and we're going to ask right after the commercial break, is Kirstie going to let Samuel buy that sports car that all guys want? So stay with us. We'll be back here in just a moment on the Income Generation. Welcome back to the Income Generation. I'm David Scranton, and for Valentine's Day, I'm stuck here with Jeff Small. But luckily, Samuel and Kirstie O'Banner are together celebrating Valentine's Day. I think it's your 3rd or 4th as a married couple, now with a new baby. So again, congratulations. So, You know, I always talk against this my money, your money mindset. And I joked about the sports car right before the break. But it sounds like you're really not advocates of the my money, your money mindset. You're advocates of the our money mindset. Is that correct?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, the way we look at it, we're going to come together and join our lives together. Why keep the finances separate? And what we found in our experience, it's actually been almost 7 years for us married. And in that time frame, I mean, we've been able to accomplish so many different things by working together. If we had that your money, my money mindset, we might be going in two different directions, but putting it all together and seeing it as, ours, we've really been able to make a lot of traction. So we're huge advocates for that our mentality.
Well, I'm happy I didn't hear you say, what's mine is mine, what's yours is mine. Because I've heard occasionally a lady or two actually voice those words. So I'm glad you didn't say that, Kirstie. Jeff?
So how do you guys keep score? You've paid off your mortgage, which is epic. The number one concern for retirees when they retire is to have a home that's debt-free, because that's peace of mind. And we don't want to minimize our expenses and maximize our income. And you guys are doing a great job of that. But how do we keep score in the meantime? How do you guys track to meet your goals on a regular basis based on how you're organized? How do you keep score?
I think it just all boils down to working together, and periodically we have meetings frequently.
Every 2 weeks.
Every 2 weeks to discuss our financial goals.
Budget meetings.
We have the long-term goals, and then we back into it with more short-term goals.
Mm-hmm.
And we just keep each other accountable. And so there's constant conversations about things. And, we try not to look at what anybody else is doing, and we stay focused in our lane and our goals together as a family.
Right.
So if you don't put time and effort into it, you're not going to get the result. It requires management. It requires punctual management and punctual reviews. That's what I hear you saying.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. We have to stay on top of it every 2 weeks. Again, we're looking at the budget. We're looking at what's going out, what's coming in, projecting, for the next 2 weeks out, and even sometimes a little further than that. But definitely keeping an eye on it and stay working in it very often.
So Kirstie, what I want to know though is what happens when Samuel is bad and he's done something like spent a little too much money? What do you do to him?
Well, believe it or not, you should probably be asking him that about me. It's funny, Dave mentioned the sports car question. I actually want the sports car. Samuel's a simple guy. I don't know if I'll be able to get him to get rid of his Toyota Camry anytime soon. But
you'll let him drive it every once in a while, though, right, Kirstie?
Right, absolutely. Here and there. But to answer your question, Jeff, we have, again, we're big advocates about budgeting together, but we do still have discretionary spending that we allocate in the budget to be able to do the things that we both, want to do or choose to do. And so, we kind of do our own thing in some ways, but we do agree on those amounts. And from there, it's, kind of free reign.
So let's pivot to the topic we always talk about on this show, because a lot of our viewers are older than yourselves. And at your age, most people don't think about their retirement goals and what retirement looks like. But because you're such good planners, I mean, have you done that? Have you sat down to spell out what retirement's going to look like for the two of you?
Yeah, actually, it's a part of those long-term goal conversations. And so with us paying off our primary residence and being completely mortgage-free, it really frees up finances for us to look into investment properties and can continue to maintain the lifestyle that we desire and also provide for our child.
Yeah. Some of the things that we have planned for retirement, I don't know when we might want to, not work, but if, whenever we find ourselves in that situation, we do want to, we are working towards some other investments and different things so that we can sustain our lifestyle and continue to give generously and provide for our daughter and maybe future children. We'll see.
Well, I love it. And it's so great to have you two back on the show. As I said 3 years ago, I'll say it again. Samuel and Kirstie O'Banner, my favorite Irish couple in the whole world. Thanks so much for being back here with us. And again, happy Valentine's Day.
Happy Valentine's Day.
Absolutely. Thank you, guys.